Blame Truth here, and first and foremost, I just want to say that I am not used to this. I just am not. I've noticed this thing going on with Call of Duty right now where Sledgehammer's done a really good job at listening this year, but at the same time, nobody really cares because we've been burned so much. Like, I do respect Sledgehammer Games for doing the right thing and listening to the community and listening to feedback, but it's like too little too late because for the past 4 or 5 years, Call of Duty has just it's almost like they bullied us, man. It's almost like they've given us PTSD or something. So when a game like X Defiant comes along and we have a dev team that listens and communicates properly, I mean, I'm not just saying they listen to every criticism and implement every single idea that everyone has. I'm glad they're not doing that because some people's ideas just suck, let's be honest. But the overall consensus is being listened to, I think, by the people who play the game. And I'm not used to it. I simply am not used to it. I'm going to do a comparison with Infinity Ward a little bit later. It's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. Well, it's funny now. It wasn't funny at the time, but it's pretty funny now, looking back on it. But I want to cover the news and what's been going on. So X Defiant, the X Defiant team, released Team Deathmatch today, but they also did something else. Aside from a game mode, they addressed the recent criticism of the change they made to the camo grind. If you don't know what I'm talking about, they changed getting bronze, silver, and gold camo at weapon level 50, 75, and 100 respectively. They changed that to, I believe it's level 100, 150, and then 200. So they effectively doubled the length of the camo grind while only giving about a 14%, 17%, something like that, around 20% actual buff to XP earned. And while people were happy that the attachments were easier to get at the lower levels, they felt like that progress they had made towards gold, maybe they were like a few levels away from gold or silver or whatever, they felt like the goalpost had been moved and they weren't super happy about it. This is something I wasn't super happy about, and I criticized it as well. And Mark Rubin and the team, they were like, hey, we made this change, let us know what you think of it. And we let them know what we thought of it. And it's been a few days now, and they've already addressed it with plans to change it. I'm not used to it. I'm just not used to it. I'm going to cover what Mark said here. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes. Mark says, hey all, we have been listening to players about the changes to progression. So for those with a short attention span, not judging, here's the last page of the book, and then I'll go into reasoning and philosophy. We are changing the speed at which you rank up each level. It is going from the current number of 3000 XP down to 1500 XP, in effect doubling the speed at which you level up. And that's doubling after the already changed number. So it was 3500 before, and now it's 1500. So it's faster than it's ever been. It's faster than double XP, essentially, how it used to be at least. The levels that you need to get to unlock a mastery skin are staying the same, but the net effect is that this will revert the change we made but keep the 14% speed increase. This will mean that unlocking attachments will be super fast, but the grind for gold will be 14% faster than what it was before the recent patch. It also means that everyone will get a big bump in their current level. This change will be coming very soon, and as soon as I have specific dates, I will let you know. So now let's talk about what happened and why. Let me point something out that's very obvious. The main grind we have in the game right now is weapon mastery. This is something that we are working on and have new ways for players to grind out cool rewards coming in multiple future updates. Like for instance, Ranked will be coming in Season 1, but because Weapon Mastery was the only grind we had, we feared that players would achieve the end of that grind too fast, and that would make the skins feel less special and rewarding. But here's the issue. We made a change while the game is live and people had already put in effort towards progression. This was a mistake on our part and we will own that. And that is why we are actually reverting and making it technically even better than before, because attachments will unlock much faster. What we should have done is keep our focus on the new grinds and challenges that we are working on. In other words, keep the focus on what's actually fun for the players. We've always held that this is a player-focused game and the progression change wasn't it. So I hope that explains the situation, and I hope that everyone who plays our game realizes or remembers that this is a game for the players first. Hope to see you all in game. And of course, everyone applauded, and I don't really see anyone against this change. In fact, people are happier than ever because it's a little bit easier to get gold now. Now, I do understand the thought process here. Like, I figured when they changed this, it was because they didn't want people running out of things to do. One of the worst things in a video game is, like, especially a live service game, is feeling like you've already accomplished everything and there's nothing to grind for, there's nothing to achieve, and then you get bored and you quit. So I think maybe they watched Jev's videos, or maybe saw some Parasite streams and were like, hey, these guys are unlocking gold way too fast. Let's maybe up this a little bit and give the community more of a challenge. But the thing is those guys are, you know, they're like full-time content creators essentially, so they're going to be grinding it out. I mean, I'm a full-time content creator. I was about to hit my first gold weapon. I focused on unlocking the attachments for everything, pretty much everything in the game first. And I was nearing my first gold weapon, hadn't even achieved it yet, you know, and still didn't have it yet. So there is a lot of grinding to do for the mastery camos already. And I think that it was a mistake, but they righted the wrong. And the best part about this, by the way, is that everything you do now still counts. So Mark Rubin says, your weapon levels will change again. So if you were 116 after change, you should be 200 when change goes through. So this is kind of a retroactive thing that will apply presently. So once you get to about 116, just stop leveling the gun and you'll get gold when they make this change. Probably next week, I think, is what Mark said the ETA is on the patch. Could be later, but next week is supposedly when it's going to drop. So just level it to 116, you're good to go. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I never expect perfection. I never expect perfection. I think that's something that a lot of people think I do because I'm so critical of modern Call of Duty. But, like, dude, I've loved old Call of Duties that weren't perfect, that just were fun, you know? I've never expected perfection and just full-on right decisions all the time. But what I do expect is just kind of an explanation, good communication, and I've seen that just go down the drain in the last couple of years with Call of Duty. I just want to compare what you just witnessed to Infinity Ward with Modern Warfare 2. I don't think this is an unfair comparison either, but I just want to bring this up. I got bored and I looked up the Modern Warfare 2 beta. So stuff about the Modern Warfare 2 beta, because Modern Warfare 2, I think most people can agree, worst Call of Duty of all time, bar none. They bled players after their refusal to acknowledge any criticism from the community and fix it. And I just want to kind of compare XDefiant's response here to Infinity Wars just to show you guys why I'm not used to this. I legit feel like I have, I don't know, man, Call of Duty PTSD now with this stuff. And whenever this communication happens and these changes happen, I am genuinely shocked. I shouldn't be necessarily, but I am genuinely shocked. Let's just cover Infinity Ward here. This was the top voted comment, upvoted comment on Infinity Ward's own thread about the Modern Warfare 2 beta, asking for feedback. So here are all the issues that were brought up. Deaths are not on the scoreboard. Red dots are not on the minimap. The TTK is too fast. Footsteps are too loud. Strafe speeds are too slow. Slide is now useless. Add ninja as a perk. UI is terrible. Sprint out times are too slow. Moving is punished. Camping is rewarded. Horrible perk system. The time release perk system is what he's referring to. Ghost is once again overpowered to reward campers. No lobby disbanding. We want classic prestige. Tone down the SBMM. We want map voting. For the love of God, remove the spawn cam flying animation. It's so painfully unnecessary. Bring back the red nameplates above enemies. Blows my mind that you actually remove this. Hardcore exists for a reason. Stop trying to force everyone to play hardcore. You claim that you want to make all playstyles equally as viable, but there is a blatant, clear bias towards campers. Sorry, Sentinels. You are artificially slowing the game down in so many ways and giving bad players as many advantages as possible so they don't get their feelings hurt. I remember being shit at COD for a long time, but I still played. I still bought the game every year because I enjoyed it, even though I wasn't very good at it. Over time, I naturally got better, and now I'm punished for that? Fuck that. Edit. Spawns are somehow worse than Modern Warfare 2019. Shockingly bad. How many years have you guys been making COD again? I think only 2 of those things actually got fixed or addressed, and it was the spawn flying cam and the nameplates above the enemy's head. And that's really about it. I don't think you guys remember how bad Modern Warfare 2 actually was. For the hardcore players, the game launched without hardcore mode, a staple since like Call of Duty 4, I want to say. Now, I'm not a hardcore mode player, but some people like that one bullet to the toe, I'm going to sit in a bush and kill you gameplay. Fine, you know, let them play their mode. I don't play it, but it does affect the other player base, so it should be in the game, I think. You know, it's expected in Call of Duty. Not only was it not there at launch, but they launched this, like, fake hardcore mode. I don't even remember what it was called. I've blocked most stuff from Modern Warfare 2 out of my memory, but it was like, what was it called again? I don't even remember. It was like hardcore, but it wasn't. It wasn't at all. It was some kind of realism mode or something. Just, it's tone deaf, you know, just tone deaf decisions. I don't know. Anyway, so an XDefiant dev actually talked to me in some DMs here, and I had just a little conversation with them, and I told them, like, they were basically saying how the game is never going to be done. And what they mean by that is they're constantly going to be looking at things to add and improve, and, you know, listening to player feedback and, like, kind of going along with us and what we want. And I told them that while everyone was clamoring for their game to hurry and release, I told them, like, you did the right thing by waiting, and stuff might come out slower, you might have to do like a little play by ear, but I think the community will appreciate the fact that things are done right. You know, like, leave stuff in the oven until it's ready to be released and done. And I think they've done a pretty good job with that. They're releasing stuff and then listening to player feedback and then improving along the way. And I think that's great. I really do. I hope they keep it up. And even if you guys aren't an XDefiant fan, I think you gotta admire and respect the communication, the speed at which things are getting addressed, and it's just the fact that this game's doing a player-first approach. This is a new for me. And I've played a lot of games, you know, and this is a thing that I think really needs to be celebrated. And great job, team. You know, seriously. I hope you guys enjoyed. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Ring that notification bell. Peace out.
Here's some parting advice.